She sneaked into her son's room slowly that night. Her legs were shaking. Her heart was beating fast. Now it was time to fulfill the prophecy. If she didn't do it before dawn, her husband would die before morning. This was how it all started. It was a warm evening that fateful day in the village of Umusu in Umuahia. Ezini stood in front of her son's door, barefoot, the cold floor pressed under her toes. Her clothes was loose, her palms were wet with sweat. The moonlight came in through the small window, and she could hear her husband coughing again from inside their room. Each cough sounded like he was holding on for dear life. She held the red clothes the seer gave her. He said she must place it on her son's chest before doing anything. Without it, he will die and your husband will still die. He warned, you must do it like a woman with no soul and no conscience. Her hands were shaking badly. She closed her eyes for a moment and remembered how it all started. The blood decay her husband vomited, the sleepless nights, the seer's prophecy. She remembered Obinna crying beside his father's bed, saying, Mama, if I can give Papa my blood to get better, I will do it. But the gods wanted more than blood. They wanted shame. They wanted madness. They wanted the unthinkable. The boy was sleeping. His chest was rising and falling gently. He slept like someone with peace in his heart. He didn't know his mother was about to do something that would change his life forever. Ezinne sat on the small wooden stool by the door. She didn't move. She just sat and stared. Her heart was loud inside her chest. She wanted to run away, but there was nowhere to go. If she left, her husband would die before morning. The priest said the gods had already taken him. They were only waiting to collect the ball or her sacrifice. Her son turned in his sleep and muttered something. She froze. Her throat went dry. She sat beside him and brought out the red clothes. She placed it gently on his chest, just the way the priest said. Then she looked at his face and broke into tears. Obinna, my son, she whispered, forgive me. She bent down, her lips trembling. Her hands touched his chest, but before she could do anything, she jumped up and rushed out of the room. She ran outside, held onto the tree near their hut, and vomited all over the roots. Her body was shaking like someone who saw a ghost. From the back of the house, she could hear the cock making small, slow noises. Dawn was coming, and she knew she had one last night to do it or bury her husband. If you touch your son like a woman touches her husband, your husband will make the next day like nothing ever happened. But if you fail, his soul will not cross to the land of the ancestors. He will roam and call your name in shame. This was the voice of the priest that echoed in Ezinne's mind. As Ezinne sat on a mat outside her husband's sick room, shaking, the night air was cold, but her body was burning hot. Her sister-in-law Ngozi was sleeping on the bench with her baby strapped to her chest. Everyone thought Ezinne was just praying, but her mind was full of the priest's voice. It was only 2 days ago she had gone to the shrine. DK's body had gone cold that morning. She ran barefoot to the forest shrine without even bathing. When she arrived, she knelt and cried like a widow. The priest came out of the small dark hut. His eyes were full of sleep. He looked at her as if he had seen her in a dream. You have come late, he said. The gods already collected your husband. But there is one part left. She knelt lower. Please, anything. I will do it. He turned and picked a cowrie shell from the ground. Then he threw it on the mat and stared at it for long. He whispered to himself. Then he looked at her and said the thing that made her stomach hurt. You must give life to your husband, using the life inside your own son. Ezinne blinked. What do you mean? He spoke slowly. You must sleep with him, like husband and wife. Only then will the gods agree to return your husband's soul. He must not know it's a ritual. He must not resist. If he does, the gods will strike both of you mad. Ezinne screamed. He is my child. The priest didn't blink. The gods do not care about mother and child. They care about balance, blood for blood, seed for breath. This is the only way. She stood and almost ran out, but before she left, he threw her a red cloth. Place this on his chest before you begin. This is your only protection. Now, sitting outside their hut, she looked at the red cloth again. She had hidden it in a calabash under her bed. Her husband coughed again. The cough was weaker than before, like someone knocking on death's door slowly. She stood up and wiped her face. She wasn't ready, but time wasn't waiting. DK, once the strongest man in Omahia, now looked like dry stick. His cheeks were gone, his eyes hollow. The man who used to carry palm fruits like feather now needed help to sit up. The morning after she almost entered her son's room, Ezinne went to fetch water. Her hands were shaking so bad she almost dropped the bucket 3 times. She didn't greet anybody on the road. She couldn't even look up. By the time she got back, DK was sitting on the floor with his back against the wall, coughing blood into a rag. Her son Obina was helping him drink pap. Mama, I have warmed it a bit so it will pass its truth, the boy said cheerfully. Ezini nodded, avoiding his eyes. Obina had no idea what his mother had almost done to him the night before. She sat near her husband, dabbed his forehead, and fed him water. DK held her hand weakly. Ezini, you are a beautiful, strong woman, he said. When I go, don't cry too much. Life must continue. She swallowed hard and shook her head. You are not going anywhere. He smiled, but it looked painful. I can feel it. My spirit has started moving. I hear strange voices at night. Ezini looked down at the red mark forming on his chest, just like the priest said. When the gods were close to taking someone, their chests would burn without fire. She went inside and locked the door. Her knees gave way. She collapsed and cried quietly, her mouth pressed against her wrapper. How would she look Obina in the eye again? But DK was dying, and night was coming again. Ezini, I don't know what you will do, but don't let those forest people confuse you. All these seers that dresses like masquerades, no be all of them they serve light. That was what Ngozi said to her. Ngozi, her best friend, her sister, her confidant. Ngozi had just finished sweeping the compound when she noticed Ezini staring into space, sitting under the guava tree. Sister, Ngozi said, you sure say you dey okay? Ezini snapped out of her thoughts. I'm fine. I'm just tired. Ngozi sat beside her and lowered her voice. Last night, I saw you enter Obina's room. Then you ran out and went behind the house. Did you think I didn't notice? Ezini's heart froze. I was just checking if you locked the window, she stammered. Ngozi wasn't convinced. Eh? Just be careful. There was silence. Then she added, don't trust that priest too much. My neighbor that tried one ritual like that, her child never recovered. Ezine turned to her. What happened? They said the gods wanted a sacrifice to save her husband. The same story. She used her daughter. The man lived. But the girl, she started hearing voices. She would scream at night. She didn't marry till today. Ezine bit her lip. Her eyes filled with tears. She wanted to tell Ngozi everything, but she knew it was too dangerous. If anyone found out what she was planning, she would be cursed or even stoned. That night, she boiled yam and prepared fish pepper soup. She served Obinna first, then checked on her husband. DK was already sleeping. Obinna finished eating and yawned. Good night, Mama. Good night, my son, she said, watching him walk to his room. She waited till the house was quiet. Then she stood up. The red cloth was already in her wrapper. It was time. She opened his door, her hands shaking. The moonlight from the window touched his bare chest. Obinna was fast asleep, breathing like a child. But tonight, he was not just her son. He was the last hope of a dying man. Ezini stood by the door for long. Her heart was beating like drum. Her wrapper felt too tight around her body, but she didn't remove it. Obinna was snoring softly, one hand under his pillow, the other across his chest. He looked so peaceful, so innocent. She entered slowly, like a thief. She closed the door behind her, pressing it gently so it wouldn't creak. She tiptoed to the bed and knelt beside him. Her eyes landed on his face. He looked like DK when he was younger. Same strong jaw, same nose. She couldn't breathe. The red cloth was tight in her hand. She reached forward to place it gently on his chest, like the priest has instructed. That was supposed to protect both of them. But her hand shook so much, she dropped it instead. Obinna stared. Ezini froze. He opened his eyes slowly. Mama, she forced a smile. Shh, I just came to check if you are okay. You were turning in your sleep. Obinna sat up a bit. I am fine. Do you want to sleep here tonight? Her heart broke. No, she said. I'm just worried. Your father, Obinna looked sad. He will be okay. I prayed for him today. She touched his shoulder and nodded. She sat there for a few minutes more, silent. Then she stood and left the room quickly before her body failed her. Outside, she fell to the ground and wept into the sand. She couldn't do it, not yet. They say when the gods send you message, even the blind will see sign. But this one, Ezinne didn't see it coming at all. It was afternoon. Ezini had gone to the market to buy palm oil. She didn't want to go, but Ngozi forced her. You dey look like person wey spirit dey chase. Come out small. She walked past the meat sellers, the spice women, the akara stand, but her mind was far. That's when she saw the old woman sitting under a mango tree, surrounded by flies, selling nothing. Ezini stopped. The woman had white hair like a cotton, dark wrinkled skin, and milky eyes like someone that had seen many worlds. She was just sitting there, staring at her. When their eyes met, Ezinne felt a sharp cold pass through her spine. The woman raised her hand and beckoned her. Ezinne almost ran, but her legs refused. She walked slowly. The woman didn't blink. You carry a heavy shame on your shoulder, my child. But don't be afraid, daughter of the moon. Ezini gasped. Who are you? The woman smiled. I see things and I know things. If you don't act soon, your husband will not see the next moon. Choose shame or widowhood, but choose fast. Before Ezini could ask more, the woman stood and walked away. Ezini turned to follow her, but she was gone. The next night, Ezinne closed her eyes and stepped into fire. She had made up her mind that she would do it tonight. DK's chest now had a deep red circle. His breathing was shallow. Even Ngozi had started crying quietly at night. She boiled water and bathed. Then she wore the white wrapper the priest gave her, the one she had refused to touch since. She placed the red clothes and some herbs in her wrapper. When Obinna finished his food and said good night, she only nodded. Then she waited. 1 hour passed. The whole night was quiet. Then she entered his room again. This time, her hands were not shaking. She placed the red clothes gently on his chest. Obinna stared, but didn't wake up. She closed her eyes and whispered the words the priest told her to say. Let your seed return breath. Let this act bind soul to life. Let shame pass, but let life remain. She touched him, and then the door flew open. Ngozi was standing there, holding a lamp, her face twisted in horror. Ezinne, what are you doing? What Ezinne feared most finally happened. Someone has seen her, and not just anybody. It was her best friend, her sister, her only peace in the storm. Ngozi dropped the lamp. It rolled across the floor, spilling kerosene and making the room smell like fire. Her mouth was wide open. Ezini, you, with your own son? Ezini jumped back like thunder had slapped her. She covered her chest with a white wrapper. Ngozi, please, listen to me. No, 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 no. I for no believe am. If to say na stranger talk am, but I see you with my two koro eyes. Obinna was awake now, confused. Mama, auntie, what happened? Ezinne shook like dry leaf. Obinna, go to your room. No! He will hear what his mother has done. Are you mad? Ngozi screamed. Obinna stood up, his eyes darting between the two women. Mama, what is going on? Tears poured down Ezinne's face. I did it for your father. He would have died if I didn't do it. It's the only way. Ngozi covered her mouth. Who told you that kind of madness? What kind of dirty priest gave you this kind evil assignment? Ezinne dropped to her knees. I can't lose him. He's my everything. Ngozi looked at Obinna. The boy was now shaking. You have damaged this boy's life. You don't scatter your family, your entire lineage. The air was heavy. Nobody moved. That same night, before cock crow, Ezinne packed her things, only 2 wrappers, a small nylon bag, and the red clothes. She didn't say goodbye. She looked at DK, still lying on the bed, like a calf statue, his breathing now louder like somebody dragging heavy stone. Obinna didn't sleep that night. He sat in the sitting room, staring into nothing. Mama, where are you going? Ezinne looked at him with weak eyes. I am going someplace far. Maybe the gods will forgive me. Maybe I will find another way. Obinna stood up. I want to follow you. No, she said firmly. You must stay and take care of your papa. Mama, please, you don't understand yet. One day you will. She walked out the door into the cold night. Obinna didn't follow. He just watched her shadow disappear. Ezini reached the shrine by sunrise. The seer was outside, sweeping. He looked up like he had been expecting her. You came back. I did it, she said. But I got caught. Tears in her eyes. My friend caught me. My son, he saw me. I can't carry this shame. The priest dropped his broom. Then your husband will die. There is no other way. There must be something else. Take me instead. He walked close to her. The gods ask for balance. If you can't follow the ritual, then you must offer something equal in pain. Ezinne's voice broke. Like what? Your womb, your womanhood, the very thing you used to give him life. You must give it back. Ezinne went silent. I can help you, but this one no get reversal. Once done, you can never have a child again. She looked at the rising sun. I agree. The priest took her behind the shrine, brought out a small wooden bowl with black powder, then a razor, then a small pot of oil. Lie down, he said. Ezinne obeyed. Her heart beat like drum. You will feel pain, but do not shout. As he touched her with the oil, she closed her eyes and whispered prayers to every god she could remember. Then the chords came. 1, 2, 3. She beat her wrapper and cried. Silent tears. When it was done, the priest tied a white cloth around her waist. You are no longer the same. You have given it up. She couldn't walk straight. Her legs shook. Her eyes were red like pepper. Go home, the priest said. Your husband will wake before sunset. Some people die and come back, but the real question is, who did they really come back as? By late evening, thunder rolled across the sky. Obinna sat beside his father, pressing wet clothes on his head. Then suddenly, DK coughed. The boy jumped. Papa, Papa! DK opened his eyes. Obinna, the boy screamed. He's awake! Papa is awake! Villagers gathered. Everyone came to see the man that came back from the dead. Obinna rushed out to look for his mother, but she had not returned. DK sat up slowly. His eyes looked different, like someone who saw death and came back. Nurse, water, he muttered. Obinna laughed and cried at the same time, but inside him, something was not sitting well. Why did his mother leave? What happened that night? What happened at the shrine? Nobody had answers. Ezinne came back 2 days later. Her eyes were no longer sparkled. Her walks were slow, like her legs were carrying sorrow. Obinna ran to her. Mama, Papa is awake. He's alive. She forced a smile. Where did you go? He asked. I did what I had to do, she whispered. That's all you need to know. They walked into the house together. DK looked at her. Their eyes met, and something passed between them. He reached for her hand. She held it. Tears dropped from both their eyes, but nobody talked. That night, as Obinna lay awake, he heard his mother crying softly in the other room. He didn't move. He just listened, because now he knew something had been taken. He didn't know what, but he felt it, that it could never come back. When the gods take something from you in return for something, dearest gentle listener, it's usually not what you expect. Because that night, DK called his wife. Ezini, he whispered, what did you do? She looked away. I can't tell you. Is it the priest? He asked. She nodded. Silence filled the room. DK held her hand again. You saved my life. I don't deserve you. Ezinne shook her head. No talk like that. Just rest. The next day, a basket appeared at their doorstep inside. 3 yam tubers, a goat head, and 1 cowrie. A small note saying, he will live long, but something else must die. Ezinne looked at the note and squeezed it in her hand, and in that moment, she realized the gods never keep the end of their bargain. That day, Obinna came home from the stream with a cut on his arm. Mama, I fall for bush, he said. Ezinne quickly cleaned it, but her hands were shaking. Obinna, my son, she said, if anything happens, please promise me you will stay strong. The boy looked confused. Mama, why are you talking like that? Later that night, Ezinne dreamt again. In the dream, the priest stood beside her bed holding a red cloth soaked in blood. He whispered, blood for blood. You chose already. She woke up, screaming. DK rushed in, Obinna too. Mama, Mama, she held them both tightly, her heart beating fast. But in her soul she knew the real price was yet to be paid. Obinna started changing. He stopped eating meat. He started waking in the middle of the night and walking outside barefoot. Sometimes he would sit under the moon and talk to nobody. Who you they talk to? DK asked him one night. Obinna blinked. Papa, I don't know, but did they answer me? Ezinne watched in silence. She remembered the priest's word. She remembered the sacrifice. Her son, her only son, was becoming something else, and she couldn't stop it. That night, she sat beside his bed and wept silently, placing her hand on his chest. Obinna, my son, forgive me, she whispered. I didn't know you would also pay the price. One midnight, DK woke up to strange noise. He stepped outside. Obinna was kneeling under the tree in the compound, chanting in a language nobody taught him. His eyes were white. His body shook like small leaf under storm. Obinna, DK shouted. But the boy didn't respond. Ezinne ran out. She froze. Tears ran down her face again. She didn't need prophet to tell her. Obinna, her son, was no longer ordinary. DK rushed forward to hold the boy, but Obinna pushed him back with force that surprised everybody. The boy collapsed. His nose was bleeding. Ezini ran and held him tight, shouting, Gods, please don't take him. Take me instead. But it was too late. The next day, Ezini carried Obinna on her back and walked all the way to the shrine. She fell at the priest's feet. Take my life. Leave my son. You told me that if you took my womb, that everything will be solved. Why do you now come for my son? Have I not paid enough price? The priest looked at her, cold and silent. You can't change what you started. You gave him to save your husband. Now, the boy belonged to the path. Ezinne screamed, He's my blood. The priest turned his back. She pulled a stone to strike him. He didn't flinch. Then Obinna opened his eyes slowly, but he wasn't Obinna anymore. He looked at her and said in the priest's voice, You opened the door. Now you are begging for it to be closed? Ezini fainted on the spot. Word spread fast. Ezini has used her son. Dike was not supposed to come back alive. She go suffer for this thing. But nobody said it to her face. She returned to the village alone. Dike sat at the door waiting. Where is Obinna, my son? He asked. Ezinne looked at him and collapsed again. The boy was never coming back. His body might return one day, not his soul. The neighbors whispered. Children stared. Ezinne no longer answered greetings. She moved like a shadow, and every night she sat at Obinna's sleeping bed, hoping that one day he would knock again. 3 years passed. Ezinne grew thinner, quieter. Dike lost his strength again. No children, no womb, no joy, just waiting. Then, one stormy night, there was a knock on the door. Ezinne stood, frozen. Knock, knock, knock. She opened it. A young man stood outside, covered in rain. He looked like Obinna, but older. Who are you? She said. The young man smiled. I have returned home, Mama. Have you forgotten me so soon? And then he walked in like he never left. But in her heart, Ezinne knew this was not her son. This was but another scheme of the gods. To what end? No one knew. Or so she thought. The end. Dearest gentle listener, what would you do if your husband was dying and the gods demanded your only son as the prize? Did Ezinne make the right decision? Let's talk in the comments. I am reading every single one. And if you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping African folktales every week and click the share button to share with someone. New captivating stories every week. Real stories, raw emotions, deep culture. Please turn on the notification bell so you never miss a moment. See you on the next story. Bye.